Welcome to the Racing Nuggets podcast. I'm PJ Noodleman, joined by my co-host from the Midwest Racing Connection, Mr. Dan Plan. Hey, Dan.
Hey, good to be here again.
Well, we have the most recent super late model winner as of this recording, a young man from Minnesota. Let's welcome to the podcast, Ty Fredrickson. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
We are good too. I bet you have been so busy since winning at the Dells.
Yeah, I got a few interviews and it's been a really good time.
That is pretty cool. That's you've had some really close ones that we thought we were going. That's why I put Mama Lisa's Pizza up in the back because you really, I think, started turning some heads at Oktoberfest last year, and you've been looking good everywhere you've gone. You just haven't closed the deal until the Dells Raceway Park. Congratulations! That's that first of five for the Alive for Five. Now, are you going to run all five of those races?
Yep, that's the goal.
So you could end up being a champion even too if things go well.
Fingers crossed.
Awesome. So did you realize what was going on there at the end of that race? It looked like maybe Casey got into or you guys it looked like there was some contact and then Ryan Farrell seemed to like come out of nowhere. So what was all happening there in those final laps?
Just a bunch of hard race and there's contacts and some of the contact in some of the corners uh, and then with us stacking up with the lap cars and then Ryan was able to catch us and then Ryan capitalized on me and Casey getting into each other and then luckily that last restart came around and I knew I was good on the top so that's where I went and then I didn't know but I watched the replay and the five hit the 80 come a little bit off the corner and then I was able to get down in front of him and walk away a little bit.
Awesome. So what were your first words as soon as you realized you won that race? Did you just let out a big scream?
Well, first my dad was going a little crazy, and then I was yelling, "Yeah!" And then my crew guy, my our one and only crew guy, was pretty excited too. And then I got down to the front stretch, and I saw my whole family screaming their throat out.
Yeah, your family is probably one of the tightest families in racing, and that's got to feel good to know that you've got that built-in support system already there, huh?
Yeah, I think I think Nikki, which you definitely know, is definitely one of the. She definitely lets herself out there. Everybody knows she's cheering for a 36 car.
Who was your spotter? Was your dad your spotter?
Yep.
Okay, for people who don't know and they've been living under a rock, Danny Fredrickson is your dad and he was your spotter. Dan, were you going to say something on that?
Well, I was going to say, I am so impressed how your dad, Danny, is as a spotter for you. And he was the same way with Buddy. Um,
Buddy
I don't think it's
Kofoid.
a stretch. Yeah, I don't think it's a stretch to say he's animated when he's on the radio when he's driving. But when he's spotting for you, he's just so calm and a great coach. Because I've seen many situations where the dad coaching the son doesn't always work that well. But this seems to work really well.
Yeah,
So what is that like?
I'd say he's about 20% spotter, 30 or 80% mental coach and driver coach.
And does the dad piece ever come through on the radio, or does he pretty much keep with coach and spotter?
Spotter. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So what was his initial comment after you finally won? I mean, you finally got that win. I bet he was just prouder than a peacock.
Well, started off with the big yell for a few seconds. And then it went off with a good job, everybody. And then I went on there and started screaming, and then yeah, it was just super cool.
Probably a good thing Aunt Nikki didn't have a radio, huh?
Yeah,
I love her. She is a sweetheart. You do have a really cool family, and you have quite an ambitious schedule put together too for the season. Folks can see that. You do you have a website yet, Ty?
mm,
Okay, so you have a Facebook page though, right?
yep,
So your schedule is out, and everybody can see it at Ty Fredrickson Racing.
yep, that's
Um,
correct.
What is the big race or two that you are most looking forward to yet this year?
I gotta say Thunderstruck because it's a memorial race for Dan Ryan, and the whole Ryan family has been really big with like my dad getting into racing, and then his middle name was Patrick, and then he passed away shortly before I was born, and then that middle name got passed on to me. So that one was definitely a big one, and then probably say Oktoberfest 200 because that was like that was my first grasp at getting a win, and I let it slip away from me, so I got a little bit of redemption there.
Figured you were going to say
And it,
Oktoberfest since, and that's why I put Mama Lisa up here. Yes, Dan.
well, I think you were Oktoberfest didn't go as planned, right? I think you broke a motor and you ended up running a crate motor in that race against the super late model motors. But at the end of the day, you were still right there with the little crate motor. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, our super late blew up in the trickle. So then we had Barstead drive all the way from Lacrosse to Minnesota in one night, pick up the other car, get it ready, and drive down for practice the next morning. So that was really cool, really thankful that he did that. And then to end it off the weekend third, which was really cool against a bunch of the best super late model guys in the country.
You do have a really
Was it
good group there helping you.
Yeah.
Go
was
ahead, Dan.
Oktoberfest the first time you raced against your dad?
Yeah, it was.
So
The
you
unfortunate thing was me and him didn't really race much because he was in the nights, I was in the futures, and then we were separated during the trickle until I blew up, and then I let him go in the 200, and then he got in an unfortunate accident. So I maybe only saw him for about 4 laps the whole weekend.
well, we'll just remember that you beat your dad the first time you raced against each other.
I love that. I'm writing that one down, Dan. So, your dad is a card too. He's got a good sense of humor. I'm going to guess you got some of that in yourself too. I've seen a few little video clips of you. You like to cut loose and have some fun with people. Are you a bit
Yeah,
of a jokester?
yeah. I try not to keep it 100% serious. I try to have mix in a little personality and fun here and there, and just try to keep racing a hobby where you have fun and try to do the best you can.
So you are also one of the drivers for the Kawicki Driver Development Program. Congratulations on that. That's a hard nut to crack to get in there. So and you obviously have shown that you've got the chops to compete there. So another piece of that though is they kind of want you to be doing some charitable type works, community things. What sort of things do you have planned for your season to kind of help showcase that part?
So I've been looking to feed my starving children, and then I want to look into something with ALS because that is what Dan Ryan passed away from. So yeah, one of those two I'll be looking into.
I love it. I kind of figured it would be ALS, but I wasn't 100% sure on that. You mentioned personality before, so I'd like to chat just a little bit about that and maybe just kind of some of the things that you do. So when you're not racing, what are your hobbies? What do you do? What are some of your things that you like to get involved in?
Um, I like watching other races, and then I really enjoy playing golf. Like last 2 days I've been playing golf, but it was raining here today, so we can't do it. And then we're gonna, yeah, so just basically golf other than racing.
That's a good combo. A lot of racers do the golfing thing as well too. Do you ever golf with your dad?
I haven't recently, but I've been doing it with Tristan Swanson and my brother and sister. But we're gonna go a lot this year with me, my dad, and the rest of the family.
And you mentioned Tristan. He's actually dating your sister, right?
Yeah,
So how does that go?
yeah.
And the two of you are on track together.
So I guess she just whoever's in front, she either puts the sweatshirt on or takes it off with the Tristan Swanson t-shirt below.
Well, bless her for wanting to support whoever is out front. I think that's pretty cool. Do you have a girlfriend? That was one of my questions for you.
Nope, gotta keep it on racing. It's my 100% my focus.
Well, I know my husband would be really proud to hear you say that because he always thinks when you get the skirts involved, there's usually a problem shortly thereafter. So that's funny.
Distraction.
That's what he calls them. Yeah, skirts are distractions. So that's cool. What do your classmates think, though? I mean, what, you're 15 now? Or when is your birthday, Ty?
March 16th, I just turned 15.
Okay, so you are 15 right now. What do your classmates think about this racing? Do they get it? Do they support it? Are they pretty cool about it?
So I do online school, so I don't really have any classmates. So I just do it by myself and come out here in the shop. I don't got many friends.
Now you sound like your dad, and he's normally the one saying that nobody likes me. I don't have any friends. Your dad is a card. What is probably one of the best lessons that your dad has ever taught you as you get started here in racing?
I'm just to gain other drivers' respect because I'm going to be in this sport for decades, for all I know. So I just got to have a good mutual friendship with all of them, and so it can be a fun few years.
I saw some pictures from the pits. It looks like Jeff Storm was having some fun with you.
Yeah, I like Jeff. He's probably other than Tristan, he's probably one of my favorite people to talk to at the racetrack. Yeah, he's been a super cool guy to me, super nice, and yeah, overall great person to me.
When you turn 21, be careful of Jeff Storm.
Got it.
Actually, just be careful of everybody once you turn 21. It could get dangerous. Could get dangerous. I have to believe that you have designs on getting up the ranks as far as you can. Buddy Kofoid is kind of a family friend of yours as well, too. Do you ever want to dabble in dirt racing, or is asphalt where you see your career going?
I want to get into dirt racing because I feel like I could be a better race car driver on asphalt too. So I want to get some dirt racing and some road racing going. So we've been looking into that. We got nothing scheduled right now, but maybe in the future.
Okay. You guys have an RV that you're kind of using as the headquarters to travel all over for all these races. Because again, you have a very ambitious schedule. And you might be a little too young to know what the Partridge family is, but for those of our listeners who are a little older, they might find that amusing because that's kind of what you guys are, like the rolling Partridge family, man, to go racing. Only instead of singing, it's racing. That means nothing to you though, because you're 15. So
So we actually sold our motorhome and got a stacker hauler. So that's what we'll be living out of for 3, 4 days a week at the racetrack.
nice. Very
See,
nice.
that's the great thing about the area of the country we live in with your ambitious schedule. You're probably only 3 to 4 hours away from home at any given point. There's so many tracks and so many opportunities close to home that you can run that you don't have to go all over the United States.
Also nice because the Midwest, in my opinion, is the best racing that you can get. Like the Southern stuff, they got like definitely their good guys down there, but in the Midwest, it's top dogs.
Yeah, I think you'll probably find that your racecraft will get better developed up here than down south for sure. So I love what the schedule is that you have together. Slinger Nationals are on
Yeah,
that schedule as well too. How do you feel about Slinger?
I haven't been there, but I've been watching some footage on it, studying for it a little bit. We're gonna see how it goes this weekend for the tour race. Yeah, looking forward to going to a track I haven't been to.
And we should tell everybody we're actually recording this on Tuesday, April 16th. So by the time this airs, you will have had some time on Slinger under your belt. You keep mentioning about watching videos and things. Do you do the online racing at all, Ty? Like the iRacing?
Uh, I play it. I do like 1 or 2 races a night, but I try not to take it too serious. And focus on schoolwork and hanging out with my friends, and then watching races and watching what happens on the track, what line to run, and all that stuff.
Did you try Slinger on iRacing yet to see what that was like?
I'm hoping it's hoping it's a lot different from the video game to the real life.
Well, you'll still see Dan Margetta up on top of the building, just like in iRacing, because he's always up there videotaping. He's a good guy too. So, of the people that you have met in racing, has everybody been pretty supportive of you, or have you had anybody that, and we won't make you mention names, but have you had anybody that kind of, you were after they left, or if you finished talking, that you were like, the hell was that all about? Or has everybody
Uh,
been decent to you?
Everybody I've met has been nice to me. I haven't really had any bad conversation with anybody because mostly everybody who I've talked to knows my dad. And they all know he's a funny guy, so they assume I'm a funny guy too. Yeah, so
I think
everybody's
they
been
assume
pretty nice.
right.
What's that, Dan?
I said they assume right. You're a pretty funny guy.
You are pretty funny. So if you weren't doing racing, and it seems, this is what you're kind of pursuing for career, if you weren't going to pursue racing, what would you be doing, Ty?
I was big into baseball before I drove a quarter midget for the first time. Then when that happens, I quit baseball and 100% racing from there.
And what was it that told you in your heart that this is more fun than baseball?
I think watching the Cars movie, I thought that was pretty cool. And then finally got to drive a car and I thought, I like this. I'm gonna keep doing this.
I'm not sure if Jacqueline knows, but the Fredricksons in baseball are actually bigger than the Fredricksons in racing in the town of Elko, right?
So yeah, in Elko, there's a baseball field called, Fredrickson Field. I've been there a few times, and yeah, big history of baseball in my family.
Say more about that. Who are the people in your family that have been big in baseball?
My brother is pretty big into baseball. He went to college for it, and now he was a coach for a few years. He won a national championship as a coach, and then he just got on the town ball team in Dundas, which is near where I'm from.
I think it was up in St. Cloud at like a baseball museum or something. There's a picture of, I don't know, like the 40s or something, the Elko baseball team where like I think the entire team was the Fredrickson family, probably distant relatives of yours, but the entire team was a Fredrickson.
I never knew
Yeah,
that.
I've heard they've like the earlier generations were big into it, but I have not well, other than my brother, I have not really personally known anybody who's that big into it. Most of Fredricksons I know now are pretty big into racing.
I was going to make a vulgar joke right now about balls, but I won't.
Oh, you fell off camera.
Sorry. Um, at any rate, so again, you enjoy the racing. You probably even had people come up and ask for your autograph. What was that like the first time someone did that?
First time somebody asked me for my autograph, I haven't really I didn't practice it. It was like my third year in a quarter midget, so I just drew my name, but I added squiggly lines at the end of it.
That's cool. So you started in the quarter midgets. That's up at Little Elko Speedway. And talk a little bit kind of about that whole progression that you've had from the quarter midgets to now the super lights and the good things that have happened, the things that you've learned from each series as you've been moving up through the ranks.
My first years in quarter midgets, one of my competitors, which is very popular now, was William Swalich. So I raced with him for a few years, and then we got big into quarter midgets for 1 to 2 years and won the championship in the class I was in. And then when I was 12, I drove. So William drove late model for my dad at Oktoberfest, and then when he was done driving that, I drove it at Elko for a few laps. And when I was 12, and then did another year of quarter midgets after that, then hopped into legend car for Tim Brockhouse, and then the next day I was racing one at Hawkeye Downs for Legends Direct. And then a few weeks after that, we bought our first car from a team down south, and we raced at Elko a few times. Then we traveled down south with them, and then we got in the late model, and it was a few races after that, Oktoberfest. Now we're into this year.
Cool. And you've
When
won
is the
now.
last time? When is the last time you drove a quarter midget? Was it just last
Uh,
year or was it 2 years ago?
it was last year. I hopped in one for fun because my little sister races there now. We try to get her there once every other week, but that sometimes doesn't happen. And then there's like a clash there, so I wanted to race that for fun. And then I think I'm done with that now. I didn't really fit in it then. I don't think I'll fit in it now.
As in like fit in the car or the
Yeah,
that's funny.
my knee
That,
was caving out the hood.
how tall are you, Ty?
I'd say around 5'10" or 5'11".
Wow. That's pretty tall for a 15-year-old, and you're probably not done growing yet.
Mm-mm. Um, about everybody who I saw at the Dells this week, and I haven't seen them since Oktoberfest, and about 75% of them asked me if I've been sleeping upside down.
Have you?
No.
Just having a lot of milk probably for your
Yeah.
bones, huh? Yeah.
Hmm.
Good stuff. So, as you continue and you're going to keep progressing, talk a little bit about the confidence that you'll be carrying with you to your next race here at Slinger after winning at the Dells.
So my confidence level is really high leaving the Dells, but I just gotta stay humble and realize that I'm gonna go against some of the same guys, but some even better guys like Ty Majeski. So I just gotta keep my head on, and I got a new track to tame. So I just gotta focus on that and do the best I can.
Well, I'm excited to watch your progression. I think you have a really great head on your shoulders. Um, has your dad ever had to kind of rein you in, or have you just naturally known to just kind of keep your cool about things?
So when me and Casey Johnson made contact at the Dells, so my knee got stuck on the throttle thing and it didn't really lift fully through the corner. And my dad thought I was just losing my mind. So about for 10 laps straight, he was saying, calm down, which I was pretty calm, but my knee was just stuck on the thing.
That's funny. So, you think your dad's ever going to race again? You think you two will ever get a chance to go head to head?
So there's a race at Lacrosse middle of the summer for the fair week.
Oh, the
So
Tom
he's
Refner.
Yeah, so he's gonna race that one, and then depending on how the Midwest Tour points is going, he might race Thunderstruck, and then he really enjoys racing Oktoberfest, which I think he will because there's only one Midwest Tour points paying race. So yeah, that's where you see him.
So, what kind of a bet would you make with your dad when you all race head to head again?
I don't know if I want to be making too many bets because he's pretty good and he's got a lot of experience, and I'm getting there, and he definitely got a lot more experience than I have.
But if you made a bet, what would you bet? Money or would you bet for something else? What would be something that would be fun to get from your dad if you ended up beating him and you win the bet?
I think the highest bet I'll do is if he beats me, I'll give him a piece or a slice of Mama Lisa's pizza.
Oh, that's good stuff. Good stuff, Ty. So your dad is also kind of he's a networker. I imagine he's probably teaching you some of those networking skills to kind of meet and greet the right people to because honestly, it's there's a lot of luck and a lot of being in the right place at the right time to move on to the next level. And it kind of looks like your dad's working that pretty heavily. I mean, Bon Suss, he is also from your neck of the woods and he is pretty well entrenched with Toyota and NASCAR. So you've met him, I assume.
So my him and my dad have been buddies throughout their whole life. Because they used to grow up right by Elko Speedway. So I've known Bond for a few years, and with the whole Buddy Kofoid driving our car, he went to some races with us. So I've known him for a few years. But I'm just mainly focusing on doing the best I can in the Midwest, and yeah, just doing the best I can, try to win some races to impress some of those guys, and yeah.
Climb the mountain in front of you right now, is what you're saying.
hmm
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Are you planning at all this season to go down south at all? I didn't see a whole lot on that schedule, or are you just pretty much going to focus in that Midwest area?
So what we didn't put on the schedule is we're gonna try to go to the All American 400 and the Snowball Derby at the end of the year, but depending on how the stuff in the Midwest goes with everything, those two are just just
Yeah.
they're just there.
Contingent on sponsorship and funding, probably more than anything, really. Yeah. Dan, do you have some more questions? I don't want to dominate this whole interview, but Ty, you're a
No,
blast to chat with. Got
I
nothing,
think
Dan?
I've gotten, well, I mean, I'm just feeling really old because I remember, I grew up in the era when your grandpa owned the track and your dad was the little guy driving around on the UTV and cutting the grass and all that stuff out there. So just starting to feel kind of old now.
Uh, so my dad always reminds me. So at 15, he was picking up cups under the bleachers at Elko, and I'm out here racing, so I should be grateful for what I get.
That's there's some facts there. And he probably walked uphill both ways to get to the track too. That's maybe a joke too old for you, but that's well, Ty, congratulations again on winning at the Dells. Obviously, we're recording this before you race at Slinger this weekend, so we wish you luck there. And I'm just really glad to see you get into victory lane. I think that that's going to not only bolster your confidence, but kind of increase your stock and maybe bring some more funding your way so that we can maybe see you do some of those bigger races at the end of the year, too. So good luck to you.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
And we would be remiss if we didn't, real quick, let you throw out a shout out to your mom because usually the moms are kind of the unsung heroes that do a lot of the behind the scenes work. Am I right on that about your mom?
Um, yeah. So she makes our t-shirts for us. So she's out here all the time, putting the graphic on shirts for us. So yeah,
Nice.
thank her for what else she does, and then keeping my dad in line sometimes when they're talking about going to races.
Does your dad really need to be kept in line?
Uh, Sometimes, but he don't really care what other people say.
That's actually some good advice for you too, right?
hmm
Yeah. I would love for you. Have you heard your dad on the scanner when he was racing? Like, because what Danny said at the start, or Dan Plan here said at the start was hilarious because that's true. Your dad was like one character when he's behind the wheel, like the Tasmanian devil. And then when he's on the scanner spotting for you, he's like all calm, all
I
good.
I I mentioned that to him when he was working with Buddy Kofoid about how calm he was, and he just sat and looked at me and thought for a minute. And he goes, there's a whole lot more adrenaline out there than there is up there. And I was like, well, yeah, I get that, but
That's true.
Usually 150% in the car and about 50% on the spotter stand.
Nice. Well, you got a good guy in your ear then every time you strap in because he's got that experience and it sounds like it's a good calming voice for you as well too as you turn those circuits. So again, good luck at Slinger. And we wish you all the best the rest of the season and congratulations again on that big win at Wisconsin Dells.
Thank you.